Hi, my Aries. Uh, Welcome to your mid-October reading on the eve of the full moon in Aries, which is not just a full moon in Aries, but it's a full moon in mutual reception with its ruler Mars, and then also having conversation in the way of a grand cardinal cross with Pluto and Mars. So also talking to Jupiter, also talking to Uranus, also talking to Venus, also talking to Neptune. Uh, if things feel like they're bubbling at the surface, if things feel like uh, they're at a moment where you can't hide something that you were trying to hide out of a kindness to others, to be protective of others, to advocate for others, this reading I expect to be big. I expect it to be big for all the signs because all the signs will experience this in one way or another. But I expect these mid October readings to be big. If whether it's for you or not, if you feel called to sit with me in my shenanigans and listen to the whole reading, then it's probably for you. Your spirit team, your guides, if you're their care bears for you, if they're angels for you, whatever it is, you like it, I love it. But for whatever reason that you feel drawn to watch this, then it's probably for you. Don't try to make anything fit. My readings are not meant to give anybody anxiety or fear or worry. It's the opposite of what I hope to achieve on my channel and in the community. But, Aries, sun, moon, rising, a lot of first house activity. This could be for you. If Mars is your chart ruler, if you're in my membership, we did a chart ruler class. Uh, or you can leave me a comment if you want to know what that is. We're going to look into Aries, and I've got my Pulp, I always want to call it the Pulp Fiction, the Pulp Tarot. I want to kind of look into who you might be protecting, whether that's in your highest good. And then we'll look at, like, self-development and love and money, because that's what you all like. And leave me a comment. I expect that we'll see some. I expect tomorrow not to be quiet. Uh, I did a whole thing on my membership about this full moon, but I expect tomorrow not to be quiet in the news. But you can leave me a comment after you've seen this. Let me know how things felt for you uh, after the full moon, which is at 7:30 in the morning, 7:29, 7:28 Eastern. So what, 4:38 Pacific, 5 and 6 respectively, Central and Mountain. And later in the day, right on time. 7 of Wands advocating you. So this is, you're protecting. Who's the person in distress? How can I make it focus on the card and not me? Like that? Okay. Who's the person in distress that you feel is in distress? That your POV is that that person is in distress. Let's get more detail. This brings me back to say something that I have been saying well over a decade. And that is, a lot of times we want to help the people that we love. And so we see them headed for a crash and we do this because we don't want them to crash. Why would you want someone that you love to crash out? Like, of course you don't. But when we keep doing this and they don't hit their bottom and they don't, what's going to happen is something's going to keep happening for them cyclically so that they can have that lesson. And it took for me to realize that, like, how dare I interrupt and intercede in what somebody else's journey is, right? We're not talking about children. We're not talking about minors. We're talking about other adults. We're not talking about the elderly. We're not talking about marginalized communities that need, we're talking about full grown adults, and we don't want to see them crash out. And Aries can tend to do this. They're helpers. They really are. And that is what I was feeling. And the Seven of Wands kind of confirms that. So what else do we need to know about this situation? I, we have the Two of Pentacles. Um, we've got the Two of Pentacles here, trying to create balance, and we have the Chariot, where we want to come in and move things, right? It feels divinely, I mean, it's major arcana, it's Cancer, and so we have the moon that's full in Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars, and Cancer is in Mars, and they are in mutual reception at 22 and 24 degrees, respectively. Not shocked to see Cancer show up here. Who are you nurturing, Aries? Who are you giving love to in a way they've never had it? So that if you lead by example, and if you help them with that yawning chasm where they should have been cared for or defended, or just voraciously loved and nurtured that they didn't get when they were younger, that created that wound, that if you lead by example, if you do that for them, then that is going to kind of spackle that wound. It's going to heal them. Who in your life are you doing that with? That you're trying to help create balance in another person? Of course, that makes you a good person. Of course, that makes you a beautiful soul. It just doesn't tend to actually bring balance to the other person. We're supposed to be looking at, why do we feel the need to balance it? Sometimes too, Aries energy, ooh, y'all gonna be mad at me for this one. Sometimes too, helping others like a lot and putting all of our energy in there is also a really nice distraction from whatever we have to look within, like procrastinatory stuff, like I would go do this for myself, or I would go change this, or I would go do that thing that I've been saying I'm going to do for myself. But this person really needs me. They're in crisis. I'm not in crisis, right? So, like, let me put my energy there. If there's a cycle between you and this person like that, where you're avoiding your own stuff, or you spent money that you needed for yourself, and the Two of Pentacles here is not Libra energy. It's Earth energy, but it's Libran for me, which we cannot forget that that is the other side of the soft Aries. All right. How do what's the best advice from their spirit team? What is the best advice for Aries in this situation? Let's just assume there's a group A and a group B. If you're group A in this situation, this person really is in crisis, and it's just not, you're not at a place where you can completely walk away and let them deal with their own stuff on their own. If this person is kind of just repeating the same mistakes, and it'll hurt to watch, but you can kind of walk away, we're going to call that group A and group B. So let's get an advice part for group A, because you're not all going to be the same. And there's probably going to be different variations of that as well. And group B, we'll get into it. In Group B, what is the advice card for Group B? Surprised, not surprised. Okay. Group A, we get the Tower. I don't want to say what I need to say next, and that is that regardless of the help you give or don't give, regardless of how much of a cushion, um, that Tower moment for them is coming anyway. I feel deeply like for yourself, the next thing you do to help is going to be for yourself, because you won't be able to put your head on the pillow at night if you don't try. The reason I'm telling you this is not to be pessimistic, is not to be like, what a useless thing to do. It's not to make you feel foolish or anything else. What I want you to know, and I'm holding back tears, is that at some point, you trying, you caring, you endlessly doing this will make an impact for them. Maybe not in this moment. Maybe it won't avoid the Tower moment that they kind of need. Although that seems harsh, because for some people this is an extreme situation. You needing to do what you need to do to put your head on the pillow at night, um, no one's judging you for that. No one's ever gonna be like, "Oh, that sucker, that fool." There is a degree of reliability that the person that needed help has not experienced before you, and you're aware of that. Whether they'll be able to give you back that or not, I want you to know you're an influence on this person, and that reliability will stick out for them later. And it's important to know that you did everything that you could to help this person avoid. Um, and there's no judgment. And anybody that does judge you for whether you help or not help, not somebody you need to be listening to. For Group B, where this is just an adult making the same cyclical things happen again and again, and they say, well, this time I'm gonna, right? And they're not. I want you to know that when you pull back and you don't do this anymore, right? That you don't run into the burning building again, that maybe they're setting on fire. We get the Nine of Cups and the King of Pentacles. I'm gonna tell you the thing we can't see, and that's a crazy thing about full moons, right? They bring a lot of truth, and they bring truth that's deeply hidden. And the truth that's maybe deeply hidden that we weren't able to see prior to this moment, Aries, is that they don't feel like a full grown adult. They know that everybody has to run in and help them. However, they're going to have to pull themselves out of this hole, out of this mess, out of this situation. It actually starts to create confidence and a sense of reliability of themselves, which is exactly what they need to heal the cycle. It might not be overnight. Might not be overnight. the Saturnian wisdom that the King of Pentacles like marinates in is they need to feel that for themselves, and they can. This might even be somebody that asks for help and then low key resents it, or high key resents it, and then this is also like they act in a way that doesn't feel grateful all the time. But like you're the bigger person, you're more healed, you do the right thing anyway. Um, so you help anyway, even though they don't always seem grateful or don't do their part of whatever the agreement is and the help. Let's put that situation aside. Let's look at love. Let's use a different deck for love. I was just talking about this deck earlier today. I use it when I want like borderline audacity in the reading, like real blunt truth. Okay. Let's use a different deck. Or love. Let's get love for Aries. Get love for Aries. What is going on for October? Mid-October, the rest of October for love for our Aries and first house and Martian run people out there. The Emperor. Okay. Um, don't hate the player, hate the game. There's a certain amount of guarding yourself and strategy that is needed in a situation where possibly you gave too much, you showed too much feeling. Let's get more on this. And it's not too much. It just I feel like somebody's too comfortable. I feel like somebody's too comfortable, Aries. And I don't think this is going to be lying or inauthenticity because it's just not your deal. Um, sorry, I'm getting a whole bunch. This is more about what you don't say. Might take a little while for the assumptions not to, for the other person to realize that maybe they should assume. This might be hard to do with this person because this person has anxiety. So it's kind of caretaking the fact. So you're maybe, oh, you have been in the past. I don't like using the word overly because it implies that there's something wrong with the way that you deliver information, or the way that you feel, or the way that you share. And I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, got the anxiety card here. I think that you are very careful with this other person's feelings. And because of that, you make sure that you articulate quite a bit. And then you're mad a little bit, maybe because you're feisty, you're Aries, you're sexy, you're cool, you know how to walk through a room and kind of create that. Who's that? So then when you're articulating to a point where there's nothing left to the mystery, you know it's like the kind of right thing to do, but also it feels like you're giving your power away. And I don't disagree. Let's what else do we have going on? How does this person feel about Aries? How does this person King of Wands? I'm not getting that. It's on the floor. You're gonna have to trust me. You're trusting me already to be the conduit from your guides uh to you. So that was the King of Wands. They feel about you like the King of Wands. What else? the Eight of Wands. When I said at the beginning of this video, like everything's busting at a full moon is busting at the seams, quite literally, right? And there's truth there. And there's a lot of action and movement. The moon is in Aries, and the ruler of Aries is Mars, and Mars is in Cancer, and the ruler of Cancer is the moon. So, as much as all of those planets, right, the sun and the moon are in opposition, and then there's the grand square when you include Mars and Pluto, and then plus we have, uh, a semi sextile from the moon to Uranus, and a sextile to Jupiter. My goodness. And then there's also a grand trine, by the way, between the Mars in Cancer, the Venus in Scorpio, and the Neptune in Pisces. I don't even know if I mentioned that, but it's big. It's big. So the energy is going to linger a little bit. We have an Eight of Wands here. The what you're not saying is going to cause more communication, and it's almost going to feel urgent. Also, and again, I hope I'm wrong, but there could be world events or news that just makes us want to reach out to people we love. Where do we see this going in this? The Sun and the Hierophant. Don't hesitate. I'm normally not a big fan of this card. Please don't hesitate to be a little strategic for yourself, to cover your own bases. Maybe say less, fam, Aries fam, because the Hierophant and the Sun, both, the Emperor. We started out with a major arcana. The Emperor and I mean the Sun and the Hierophant kind of put you back into power, but in an enlightened way. And this has a really nice outcome. Taking your power and using it over people is different than being empowered. It's okay to be empowered. It's okay to stand in your power. It's okay to call your power back to you. It's okay to do what we need to do to make sure that's happening. That's not the same as overpowering or manipulating somebody. I feel like somebody needed to say that to you. Let's look at money. Let's get money. Also, I'm running a sale to the end of November. I started it a while ago, and then I feel like with so much going on, I'm just going to run it till the end of September. That's on my website. I might have a graphic up there for it. Eight of Pentacles. Let's get a clarification card, because that could just mean you're busy at work. That could mean work is working, work is smooth, work is a happy place. Work is where you feel like you're having something be accomplished. King of Pentacles. Or this could also mean that you're either reaching, yes, this could mean raise, depending on where all this is happening. Like, is Jupiter in your 6th or 2nd or 10th house right now? Also, though, this could be somebody who needs to look at ways to retire if that wasn't built into your job already. And also, this could be somebody where you feel like you've reached a plateau. A lot of us want to be, Aries is ambitious and it's cardinal, it moves, likes winning. Game nights with Aries and Virgos is very interesting and very competitive, right? Sometimes we want to work we start as the little fish in the big pond, and then all of a sudden one day we turn around and without realizing it, we've become the big fish in the little pond. And that's what this feels like. Work is going so smoothly. I just want you to look around and see that you aren't maybe one of the most knowledgeable people there, that there isn't something to bargain with there. And also it just seems like keep an eye on your retirement funds and look and see of what ways that you can kind of like transition into retirement, whether that means like a side gig or something else so you can smoothly transition. Although I feel like without giving too much away, and everybody vote. Make sure you have a plan to vote, that you're registered to vote. If you are registered to vote, check your registration because a lot of people are finding out that that is not how they start, not how they registered, or they're not registered anymore for some weird reason. Check your voter registration. Make a plan to vote, no matter who you're voting for. Just make sure you vote. It's the whole centerpiece of our democracy, right? And so so make sure you're voting. And with that said, I'm a little hopeful that our retirement systems and our social security systems and our medical systems, and how the hardworking people that are of retirement age get to be treated in this country anyway. I'm hopeful for that vote. But please just check on your retirement systems or where that's at or that's projected to be, and kind of have a game plan. Let's take one oracle card and because the full moon is in your sign, Aries, let's take work through your fears, new moon in Scorpio, and that is the new moon that is coming up. There we go. Work through your fears, new moon in Scorpio. Everything feels like it's bubbling at the surface. The thing that normally keeps us back, and I have been saying this for years, it's been all over my platforms. If you're not following me on like Instagram, is that fear will hold us back from happiness and success far more than failure ever will. It's fear. It's not failure that holds us back. It's fear. Even Aries sometimes gets a little fearful. I'm an Aries moon. I will sign my name to that statement. Even Aries can be a little fearful at times. Work through the things that make you a little nervous. I promise you, as somebody who has practiced this over the years, it's amazing what it'll bring you through. I love you. Now you love you. And I will be going to do the rest of the fire signs after this. Feeling a little better. You're going to see me got a lot more that's either good news or bad news. Bye, everyone.